Hello.
Did you see an email I sent you?
Yes, to just forward to everyone.
Yes, please, because we're gonna need it for the meeting, the data from the survey. Thank you.
You got it. Are we letting in everybody in now or just us?
You didn't make me the admin, did you?
No. Hold on a second. Here we go. Okay.
Not speaking, can you please mute your microphone except the council members? Okay, so the time now is, my phone later, hold on. Okay.
9:02 p.m.
The time now is 9:02 p.m. And this business meeting is called to order. Today is June 4th, 2020. I'll do roll call this time. Let's see if you're here. Barbara Williams.
Present.
Bravo Tamayev.
Present.
Elena Amanova.
Absent. Here.
Andy Melis King. You're muted, Andy.
Present.
Erica
Present.
Cooper.
Present.
Thank you. Ted Chang.
Here.
Micah Morrison.
Here.
Howard Pollock.
Present.
And Vijaram Jain is here. So thank you all again. Do we have the minutes from the last meeting for approval? Crystal, do we have the minutes from the last meeting? You're muted.
Yes. Yeah, I have the minutes for the last meeting, which I sent to you and Paula. That's still being reviewed.
Did you get a chance, Paul, to finish reviewing that last part? Not yet? No? That's okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Okay, so we can have it. Can we have the minutes? So everyone saw the minutes that Crystal sent out, correct? And we had given a chance, gotten a chance to give comments and feedback. So now with Paula, we'll talk offline about that. And Crystal will talk about a plan to have those minutes up on the website as soon as possible. Does members here agree that we should have these minutes up no later than next week, Thursday? 1 week is fine? Yeah?
These are the minutes from like a while back, right?
Yeah, all those other minutes. Have it up, and then we'll have a review, one up by next week, Thursday. We'll have 1 week to have today's meeting minutes up for review. And then we'll review that, and then we'll have it in before 14 days, we'll have a draft version up on the website, and then we approve this month's meeting minutes at the next, in July's CEC meeting. That's good enough, yeah? Thumbs up? Good? Okay. Moving along, performance reports. Anyone have anything to add on that?
Nope.
Performance report. I want to say that we're all doing the best we can, right? We're all doing the great as much as we can. We are also affected by COVID-19, so I want you all to be gentle with your bodies, gentle with your mind, gentle with your life and your situations, and don't take it too hard. We are doing the best we can. We have our new administrative assistant who's doing an amazing job, Crystal. We acknowledge your timely efforts in doing everything and being very patient with us and really being very, very adapting so quickly. Thank you so much for the great work you're doing, Crystal, and keep us all informed now with all the various meetings that's happening across the city, right? So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, she's eating too. That's great. What are you guys eating? Okay. So the next thing we have on the agenda is the superintendent evaluation process. So I went to the meeting for that with that the DOE FACE had a training about that. We just got a superintendent. So I asked the question about how can we evaluate someone, because we're supposed to have met with our superintendent last year, provide our goals to him or her, and then evaluate him or her on our goals, our expectations this year. So what they had responded to me and said was, Shino and some others was saying that we can just do a simple letter of that we have just gotten our superintendent, and then COVID-19 happened, and we didn't really have a chance to really work in person with her. But we can evaluate based on what we know. So we will not fill out the actual rubric that they have for superintendent evaluation, but we will do a letter. I'll send a letter out to all of you, or if you want to write the letter, I'm happy that let's do together, and we can send it out for input across the board from all of us, and then I will meet with her, and I will go over with it with Miss Tammy Pate, Dr. Pate. That's how the process works. Anyone have any questions about that? Going once. Can I have a thumbs up? Thumbs up, yes. Thumbs down, no. This one, I don't care. Robert, up.
That was up. That was as high as it could go.
Excellent. All right. So, Mike, I didn't see it. I'm joking. Mike is not on the screen. So that's great. So I will draft the letter first. I'll take a first shot at the letter, and then I'll share it to all of you via email. Thumbs up. Thank you, Micah. And then
do that thumbs up thing. That's very cool.
Yeah. Thumbs I don't care. Okay.
I'll talk with her later.
Thank you. Thank you, Erica, as it thumbs up on the screen. I like that. So yeah, I'll do the first draft of the letter, and I'll send it to all of you for input, and we'll make it a very nice, concise letter. Let's get it out as soon as possible. Then I'll schedule a Zoom with her, and then I'll do the evaluation with her, after which that should be submitted to DOE. Treasurer's report. Anything to report, Treasurer? I don't think Andy probably has stepped out of the way for a second right now, but I just want to get an update, Crystal, on where we are with what we ordered so far with the computers. I know that there was some technical issues in terms of changes in policy. Can you please fill us in, please?
Yeah, of course. So I actually went ahead and ordered myself a laptop. I'm gonna follow up to see when it should come. I just put in the information about a week ago, so I'll give you guys an update on that. I went ahead and ordered everything that we requested: copier, I ordered a printer, I ordered a computer, and I believe I ordered some ink as well. Unfortunately, come to find out, because I was told different things on different days. You know, I was told anything COVID related is the only thing we can buy. Everything else we couldn't, which would mean the computer, the printer, the copier. But then I was told if I can guarantee delivery to the building and that somebody would be there, then I could do it. So I in fact put in all the purchase orders just to be told by our SGO that she can't approve those. So it's looking like the only thing that's coming is my laptop at this time.
Okay. Is there a reason why she can't have it go to the district office? That's where our office is.
Right. That's what I told her. And she said that it has to be COVID related. So it doesn't matter about the delivery. It's just that it shouldn't have gone through, period. But.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try, as I told you before, we're going to try to work on that because the communication has not been exactly clear. And I will tell you what progress there has been. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't get at least the printer for the copier printer, the one that's leased. Because, if you don't get it this year, you're just going to have to take it out of next year's budget. And the issue here, my argument would be, look, we don't know whether next year's budget is going to be as high as last year, given all the, all the cuts.
Right.
So it seems kind of self-defeating. What happens to the money that's left in the CEC budget at the end of the year is that it goes back into the city pot. Well, then the city would have to take out the same money essentially for you to operate next year. But next year there are other priorities, etc. So I'm not, no one is clear what the budget is going to be. We all know that there's going to be, there are going to be cuts. So it seems smart to take it this year. But it's part of it is just the systems. Once you set up these big automated systems, sometimes you can't get things through just because it's coded in a certain way. So I'm trying to sort that out. I'm very well aware.
And I think we should definitely get involved if we have to, in terms of after your first stick, we could definitely write a letter as a resolution or something, because it's not fair that that money was allotted to us, and it's not at no fault to us that we didn't have enough time due to COVID-19 to not use the funds for the supplies that we want. And you can't guarantee going forward that we'll get those funds again.
So
And we can't function as easy that we have like the way we're supposed to.
if you could start on that, because now, you know, we're already June 4th, and there comes a time when the system just shuts down, slows down, shuts down, doesn't accept certain things. So
Okay.
just something very simple, but hey, you know, we are upset.
Yes.
Let's just start with that.
There's the council members here. Does any of you feel strongly that we should not do that? Give thumbs up, thumbs down, don't care? Anyone disagree that we should not do a letter? Okay, anyone volunteers? Robert, what was that?
Well, the question went from a positive to a negative, so I wasn't sure if I had to go down.
The positive is that that's our money, right? That was given to us.
So I think we need a letter, and more importantly, like if they can't give us the stuff now, can we use the money in July? Because right in 26 days they're gonna tell us you lose all that money. That's a lot of money.
The answer is no. Yeah, you cannot roll over the money.
Exactly.
In fact, you will have to wait most likely. Okay, the way the budgeting works, in the July PEP meeting, they usually approve the DOE budget. So usually it's about August and maybe even September by the time you get it in your, you know, depending. It's been pretty quick, but there's a lag. So it's not July 1st.
Can we have a volunteer to write a letter?
Me.
Thank you, Robert.
DJ, can I say something?
Yes, you can.
Can I say something, DJ?
Of course, yeah, please.
In this situation, it's not normal situation in terms of how the budgeting does normally do. And there are clauses in every meeting because of the pandemic, right? There is a lot of norm that is actually not enforced.
Right.
Like, for instance, if you would want a loan, there's a lot of forgiveness. And in this case, if you do the letter stating because of the pandemic, right, there is certain criteria, and I heard the governor said it, that has to be met.
Gotcha.
So while we may lose our money on all of those stuff, if you craft the letter in a clear manner, stating because of the pandemic, I'm of the opinion that our calls will be adhered to norm. This is not a regular, it is something that was interrupted by the pandemic.
Okay, so I'm sure Robert will take your feedback. And also, once Robert drafted the letter, Crystal, can you please work with him to get the information of who needs to be addressed, with Paula also, and then we can all circulate a letter. And Robert, is it by next week, Thursday is a fair time we should have a letter?
Yes.
In terms of writing, circulating among us ourselves via email, and then we all agreeing on a letter to go out by next week, Thursday, 1 week, is that fair?
Yes.
Good.
I would
We want to agree?
soon, very soon. And I'll work in parallel, okay? So.
Thank you. Anyone disagree? Okay, we're gonna move along. So let's get to our topic today. Crystal, was there anything else that we were missing on this topic about what we ordered, et cetera, et cetera?
Nope, that was it.
Thank you. We got you. Thank you. All right. So now let's talk about the report, the letter. Andy, you might want to hide your video or something. I'm not sure if you're changing your clothes or something, but just pointing it out. Okay. So let's talk, Robert, stop. Let's talk about the letter to the DOE about admissions policy. Yeah. Who wants to be the person to start taking notes about what we think about the letter?
Elena is our secretary.
I am tired of typing all. Why, Elena? Hold on. What am I supposed to?
No,
I don't have a laptop right now, so
we're not nominating anybody. So we want to ask someone. So one of us, we have to do the work, right? We are part of this council, and we have to do the work. This is part of the work as a collaborative effort. So one of you could have to help out here.
Sorry, can we clarify what exactly are we talking about right now?
We're talking about all the feedback that the letter that we're going to send to the DOE.
Okay.
I just compiled the survey results and I sent it to Crystal with the summary of the stats from the meeting and all the details we got from the previous meeting. And I sent it to Crystal. It should be in all of your mailboxes right now.
Yeah. But we have to agree what is going to go on that letter in terms of what our district is saying, right? So I will give each person the platform now. Lil, I need my phone, sweetheart. Sorry.
Really quick, can I just ask, can we see where's the file with the survey results in it? Because I mean,
I have that.
Your mailbox. I sent it to you.
Okay, like so we can like. I mean, there's just not a lot of time to look at what we have. You know?
Okay, so what I'll do is what I can do right now is share my screen, yeah, on the call, and then I'll go to the slides that has the results there, and then each council member will have. Let's give you 3 minutes. Is that fair? You guys think 3 minutes is okay? 3 minutes each to just give your feelings about this, and then we'll decide on basically are we writing what is letter going to be at, and in your spiel you should give ideas about what you think this letter should contain, etc. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. Elena, allow me to share my screen, please.
BJ, do we have data that's not in the presentation, like the actual numbers from each school and stuff like that? Like, is that...
No, we don't. We don't have that. We have whatever is from the polls that we did is exactly what we got.
You got it.
Paula, can I ask you? So there was a lot of grades in the 3rd grade and the 4th grade are not currently. There's a drastic difference between them. Is there a place where we can see this? Where we can see the trend? Like, is that data available? It should be, right? I mean, I assume it's somewhere. Because, like, let me say from a medical standpoint, right? We know that, however your scores on the SAT are, they correlate.
Is this your 3 minutes?
Sure, I'll take it now. But
I want to show the slides first, though.
All right, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I'll stop.
Okay.
Go.
I want to give everybody a chance to view the slides first, and then we could go into everybody's 3 minutes, please. So again, we said it was a total of 1,670 people who responded, which is a great, right? As best as we know, these are the schools that was represented. So Crystal went through the entire survey that the questionnaire asked, which school is your child attending? And she put this over here. What we could do, Ted, eventually, but I don't see why it's not important at this point here, is to determine which school each person was for, like how many people tally the school responses, right? That's I think that's what you're asking. But I think for today's purposes, this is okay here to just see that it was, I think, a very good cross section of a district that responded. I think one thing that we have to work on that we got from the meeting today is to find out which school was not responded here. Crystal, sorry. If you can, are you okay?
Yeah, I was just choking a little bit.
No problem.
I'm good now.
Lisa, look and see which there was like 27 schools that was represented here, and then we want to make sure that we reach out to the schools that was not represented here.
Can you scroll up a little bit, VJ?
There?
Yeah, better. Thank you.
Okay, and then we could find out and ask why was this school not represented. We're not going to accuse anyone of not sending it out. We're going to do a kind of investigating kind of thing, but you can just let us know which schools was not represented.
Okay.
Right, because I know for my kids' school, as soon as we put it up on the website and the link went out to the principals and the PCs, right away I got the class dojo notification. So if we are relying on these parent coordinators and principals to send these things out to this district and they're not doing that, we need to fix that break in the loop, yeah? But that's a different topic, right? I'm gonna move to the next slide. Is that okay, everybody? Next slide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. What grades is your child in? Here, you can look at that. Okay, I'm gonna move to the next slide. Anyone wants more time? Okay. Should grades up to March 15, 2020 be used to determine eligibility for screen schools? Just so you all know, these questions are similar, almost identical to the ones that the DOE is asking. So the same question that was asked for myself, as the president of the council and a few members, why not give the same questions to the whole district so that we kind of kept it the same way? So the DOE kind of see a broader picture of their questions in a district. Because if that's the questions that they're relying on, I think it was fair that we kept the questions as is, simple to the point, not too long, not too short, just to capture some kind of data. I'm gonna move to the next slide. Anyone wants me to stay on this slide? Going once, going twice, no, yes, okay. One comment in the chat, somebody saying something. Paula, I'm here, just turn off. No problem, Paula. Here is, oh, what happened? Hold on. Should school attendance, hey, should school attendance, let me move this up a little higher. Okay, so school attendance up to March 15th, that's the date that the schools will close, 2020 be used to determine eligibility for screen schools. The same exact question the DOE asked us to fill out as the first wave of feedback. Okay. Now, the next one is, what metrics should be used for middle schools admissions in the 2021-2022 school year? And this is the results that we got. 69% said, 0.6 said all of the above, which is grades and attendance. As you can see, the answers here. The next one is, what metrics should be used for high schools? I know we don't cover high schools, but this is the same survey that was sent out. We had it out there anyways, just to see what our parents think. And that's pretty much, that's it. That was all the questions. Does anyone have a question? Okay, so it doesn't know. Elena, do you have information about the survey polls today?
It's in your mailboxes, guys. Check your emails.
Do you mind sharing? I can share my screen, or you can share your screen if you want, and just have it up. Is that okay? Because we do have parents who are joining our call today who does not have that information. And I would want them to know that information too. I'll stop sharing.
It's pretty similar, I want to say.
Yeah, but we have to show it still, yeah?
Elena,
Sure.
you sent something out because I don't have anything from you.
Me either. I didn't get anything. I'm looking on our
Crystal, guys, from the CEC28. I sent it to her, and then she sent it to all of you.
Yes, the subject is please share with all CEC members. Everyone has.
I received it.
Something new that popped up on my thing.
Yeah, I received it.
You got it? Okay, I cannot.
It's pretty representative of the survey results we just saw.
It's almost in parallel, right? Kind of like the thing we have there.
I think I'm the only one who didn't get it, VJ. I'm sorry. I didn't get it.
That's okay. So, Elena, do you mind sharing your screen?
I got you, Barbara.
You got it?
I'm going to send it to Barbara specifically.
But I want someone to share it on the screen because we do have parents or district members on our call that need to see these things too.
Okay, so this is question 1.
Should grades up to March 15? There it is.
I'm trying to make it big for you guys.
No problem.
Nope, wrong one. I believe it's this one.
Okay. So 83 people out of 103 said that we should, they told us that they think grades should be used to determine screened schools eligibility. That's up to date, right? 103.
Yep.
And then of 103 people, 73% people, or 71% thought that they should use attendance up to March 15th. Again, that's a date when schools were closed, right?
Correct.
The one on the bottom, you want to go to the next picture?
Yes.
What metric should be used for middle school admission in the 2021, that should be 2021, 2022 school year?
Oops.
That's okay. I think, so this one, there's a little bit more variability. You guys can see the numbers there. 56% was the highest score that said all of the above, which means attendance and grades should be used. And then what metric should be used for high school admissions in 2021, 2022, that's what we meant, school year. And then I think that was next picture possibly.
No, that's it. Oh, yes.
There it is. It's all of the above was 60 out of 103 people, which is 58%. So now that all of you my fellow council members have seen the results of that, and you can stop sharing now. Thank you. You have seen the results of our unbiased, very neutral survey, right? And then Erica, we will talk about what you mentioned about how to do things going forward. We'll bring it up in the new business, okay? Be sure to remind us about that. And you have also seen from the poll today, and also you have listened to parents give their live feedback on our call today. So now I'm gonna go based on how you are on my screen. So I'll just do it in order of, that's the fairest way, right? So the first person I have on my screen here is Elena, and you will have 3 minutes each. Barbara, can you do timing, please?
Sure.
And let me see, reset. I think when you're ready, Barbara, and you have 3 minutes to make how you feel, and at the end, we'll discuss how to move forward. Go ahead, Elena.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Can somebody else go first? Can I formulate my thoughts?
Yeah, Ted Chang.
Go. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess like my thoughts here, I'm not trying to criticize anyone. I know everyone has good intentions. The idea was just get input. So not really, this is not trying to make a stir about this, but, I'm not sure that we really accomplished all that we could have accomplished with this. And maybe this is the first step, and we can do more outreach with our parents as a follow-up to this. But I just think, if we just waited a few days and just actually put together, I'm really struggling to understand how we could have survey options that don't even remotely cover the options that everyone knows about. I mean, even from the pro screening crowd, there were no tests, were not an option. And there's so many like well-known options in the middle between these two extremes. And to be honest, I think I've been seeing people just talk about a lot of these options in the middle. So I just thought, maybe we should do that. Maybe that should be in the survey. That was my initial reaction when I saw the text of the survey. So so I'm a little bit uncomfortable with what we, threw together, and I'm not gonna say that, it wasn't. I mean, I guess we did what we did, but I just, I'm also, uncomfortable with sort of the language access. I looked at the translation function, and like in order to use the translation function, you had to first navigate this complicated series of steps in English. I mean, that is the complete opposite of a translate function, right? I mean, like if we're going to offer language access, that's not how you do it. And so basically all of our language communities were excluded from the survey. And I think I'm also uncomfortable because, it looks, and again, I haven't seen the data, but it looks like 27 schools were represented in a district of 40 schools. So, we literally had 1/3 of the district that was completely not represented in the survey. And I just quickly looking at that sheet because I haven't had time to compare it, and I don't have all the school numbers memorized, but I saw that a couple of my schools that I'm a liaison for were not on that sheet. And, so we're talking like at least a few thousand kids just right there. So, I don't know. And then of course, you all heard my comments about sort of the way we ask the questions. I just feel like this is a tough issue, and to sort of just superficially gloss over it, people people can handle the truth, and we don't need to necessarily say that they should answer one way or the other, but we could just say, like, look, this is a tough issue. There's no clear answer, and let's, you know, do you want to do something about it? And if their answer is no, then at least we would know that that's their answer based on the question. Do you want to do something about it? But we just don't know because we didn't ask that as a question. We just asked these very superficial questions, and people who may have zero knowledge of what's going on in the screening debate were just, you know, we're just asked a very superficial question. They gave a superficial answer, you know, so it's very hard for me to see how that's reliable information. Thank you.
You unmute, VJ.
Are you ready, Elena?
Yes.
So Barbara, you're doing time, right?
Yes.
Okay, you're saying time. Elena, go for it.
So at these difficult times, I know that a lot of parents are frustrated and uncertain as it relates to the admission process for middle schools and high schools. Having 2 kids that are in high school right now and 1 that is going into the middle school next year, I definitely know the struggles. You know, you want to make sure that your kid gets into the best schools, into honors and whatnot. With that said, I think my personal opinion is that similar to how high schools are doing it this year, potentially it could be a parent's choice that for high schools, I don't know if you guys were aware, that once the grades are posted, the actual grades, then it's parents' choice whether there's a lower grade and that they want to change it to pass or fail, or CR, meaning getting a credit. So I'm not sure why for high schools it was done this way, where there is still continuing on with the actual grades, and then there's an option to change it for parents, and it's parents' choice based on whatever personal issues they are. And I don't know why for middle schools and for elementary schools this was done differently. So my recommendation would be, you know, if especially since for most middle schools the grades are still continue to be issued, posted on Pupil Path. And then we also have to be cognizant that the grades are going to be on the reports cards up to that March marking period. So the schools, each individual schools can choose to use that for their screened schools. So we can technically allow the individual screened schools to make that choice for themselves as to how they want to admit those selected students for their screen programs. I definitely agree that there is great value for the screen programs, and we need to make sure that we don't just open up the schools to everybody, even if it's just for a year, because for certain gifted students or those that need extra help, there's definitely value in being in the right classroom for that child. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person we have is on my list in order. I have is Micah Morrison.
I'm dealing with a little family thing here. Can you skip me and come back?
Okay, I hope all's well.
Yeah, all's well. Just, you know, try to
No
babysit remotely. Thank you.
Remote babysitting. Next I have on my, that's not good though. Remote babysitting, no. Safety, remember? Safety committee. Next person we have on my list here is Barbara.
Okay, so my whole opinion on this, I'm gonna go off piggyback off of what Ted said about the survey. I have to agree to disagree with you, Ted, because when VJ went to that meeting and we all voted that we was gonna be neutral, that didn't come off real good with the parents. We got a lot of backlash from being neutral. For the time span that we have, sending out a survey was the best thing that we could do at this point. And I think I commend VJ on doing that, because most of the schools that probably didn't get the survey, I don't know why they didn't get it. And as Erica said, a lot of school people that she know asked her about not getting the survey. I'm not sure why the parent coordinator didn't send it out. And that's the reason why we did the poll tonight, to reach to those people who have not been reached when we send it out. And as far as languages is concerned, Ted, obviously the schools know what language their parents and students speak. And if they're gonna send the survey out, obviously they're gonna send it out in the languages that their parents and children are relating to. So if the school didn't do that, then we don't have any control over it, over the language part of it, because we don't have the translation. And the only thing that VJ could have done at the time was to send it out in English to everybody and have them translated into whatever languages they can. So if the parent coordinator and the PTA president and the principal of the school didn't get it out to those parents on time, I don't think the CEC has anything to do with that or have any control over them not doing what they're supposed to do. So it is a short period of time, but in order for us to speak for the parents, this is what we have to do at the moment. And this is what we have at the moment, because we can't speak for somebody who have not spoken or we have not spoken to. We can't say, okay, the parents want this and the parents want that if we didn't speak to them. And that's why we had decided to go neutral. So for us to be criticizing at this point, that's what I call it, to say that you don't think the survey is correct or the questions of the survey is correct. It's a matter of opinion, but I didn't hear anybody complaining about the survey. They were probably complaining about them not getting the survey, and that's what I heard. And that's my point at this time.
Thank you, Barbara. Next person I have, Mike, are you ready now?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you.
Go for it.
Trying to get one of the kids to bed while monitoring this.
Somebody else is remote babysitting now. Good.
We all know the story. So I wanted to say a couple of things. One, I think it was a good effort to try to get this out. I understand it was rushed, but I'm a little confused. And what I'm a little confused about is that this has nothing to do with this September. That's my understanding. This is for the 21-22 school year, so a year from September. In some of these conversations, you keep hearing people refer to this September, and that's one thing that's been sort of puzzling me. The other thing is, I don't know when is the deadline that DOE has to make these decisions on this. It seems like they've suddenly decided to put a rush on this, and we have to come to this decision quickly. But again, we're talking about a school year that starts a year from September. So it seems to me like we have a little bit of time, and that this survey was a good first effort. But also, if we miss some schools or if things are going on that we have to account for, can't we sort of keep going? I think that I feel a rush here, and I don't quite understand why. If we're talking about the 21-22 school year, which starts a year from September, it seems like we at least have a few months. Now, if we want to be responsive to the parents, that's one thing. And I think that, my concern about this, I said before, is DOE really trying with this to sneak in through the back door some diversity planning? Is Carranza and these guys thinking, well, this is a crisis, let's do what we can, right? So if that's the case, is it really our job to sort of say, whoa, slow down? I mean, I don't really understand where the deadline is on this and why is a rush. Now, I think we've made a really good effort. We have a certain amount of material, and my suggestion would be maybe if, Elena, unfortunately for her, is a numbers cruncher, is a numbers person, Federal Reserve, all that. VJ, you're very good with that. I mean, my suggestion would be, can VJ and Elena pull together the numbers on tonight's poll, on the other poll we did, give them to Crystal and put them in some kind of form where we're saying, listen, folks, here's the numbers. Here's the numbers we have. You do that, give it to me. I'll put it together in a nice letter, and we can do it from there. But my suggestion on that is, if we're going to do a letter to DOE, which is going to go to the media and go to the community center, you want in the bulk of that, you want the numbers. Here's what we found out, and our numbers, Ted is indicating that maybe our numbers are incomplete. I mean, can we go out and complete them in a little while. But if we say, first of all, here are the numbers, then in the letter, so there's a preamble, you know, this is what the issue is, here are the numbers, because VJ, I don't understand if we are looking for an opinion from the CEC, I don't know if we all agree in the end. You know, we may have to say the CEC does not agree on this. 4 members view it this way, 5 members view it this way. I mean, I thought the conversation tonight was excellent. You heard people on all sides. I'm kind of a middle of the road guy. I mean, I heard some, you know.
Mike, can wrap it up, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I heard some really some moderate compromises and stuff. So anyway, that's my suggestion.
I was just about to say time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Just to be fair to everybody, you know, that's to be fair.
No, of course.
Thank you. Next person I have on my list, and you raised some questions there, so then I'll answer those questions, and then I'll do my 3 minutes at the end. Well, I can answer the questions now. At this point, there's no deadline. There is no deadline, and the DOE, because I was in a call today with Josh Wallach and Sadie Campoamor, and there was a big issue about not getting public engagement for grading policy. So they're doing extra overly engagement now with this admission policy because they realized the big pushback they got about the grading policy. So they're doing the due diligence to get feedback. So there is no clear deadline. However, we don't want the DOE to tell us that, oh, you missed the deadline, right? So we want to, that's why they're having these comment sections, right? That's one. Good. That was to answer your question. Robert, has somebody have a thing on their microphone? Sorry, I apologize. The next person I have on my list is Andy. Andy made us king. Your 3 minutes starts as soon as you acknowledge that you're hearing me.
Yes, Vijay, I heard.
Okay, my brother, go ahead.
Yes, well, my whole take, I have a total different take on this whole situation because I work directly with appropriate kids that don't get an opportunity. So my total view from the grassroots level is on hand view. Most people views from what they read and from what they have seen or from a conversation. But because we can all agree to disagree, but I know that these children are given an opportunity in this screening school. I don't know why there's a screening school. Only New York City alone have that. No other state have that. So I know that because I go to different states every single year, several states. So I know that. Only New York City have a segregation in school. I go to every state again, right? Out of the 50 states, 49 states do not have segregation. So that alone should be a problem for us. I work with children from all over the world, from all different communities, black, brown, white, every community. Not all white children are smart children, as how some people make it seem to be. A lot of white children are so good because they are white. So there's a lot of things that people are saying that they have no facts for. I am speaking because as a man on the ground, I have facts. I have paperwork for everything. Everybody's not academically inclined. That is a fact. There is a lot of children that, why you believe they have music scholarship, art scholarship, academic scholarship, track and field scholarship, baseball scholarship, basketball scholarship. So most people that speak, they speak about academics. They don't understand that academics alone is nothing. A lot of children that goes into college with academics struggle. They struggle a lot, but we don't see that because guess what? They got to play a sport. They got to do something else. It is mandatory. So a lot of people only base on what happens in New York City. I am based on what happens in Europe, what happens around the world, and what I'm working with directly, right? So I'm saying this, I am formally with the mayor and the chancellor to put some of the children into the screening school and the special ed high school, and it will not bring down the quality of the school. And I'm telling you this, if I put a child to run in a heat with that child run slow. But if I put a child in heat to run children, run a personal death. And that has been proven back. I'm working with children that drop out of high school. They're going back to college. I'm working with children that come from some of the worst of Princeton. They're going to a Syracuse. Right? And guess what? They're going there because I work with them. They get a track scholarship or a sports scholarship, and they're working on their grades because guess what? They fail their SAT. I give them the necessary information that they never had. And they redo their SAT, and they pass it with flying colors. So my whole thing about it is that if these children are given, you cannot judge people when you have never given them an opportunity. And all what people is doing is being judgmental. There's no fact behind what they're saying that the school standard is going to drop because the children were never given an opportunity. And I'm working with children from my home country, Diana, that were never given an opportunity. And because of this pandemic, they're here with me. And they've gotten the opportunity to work on some machines that they have never worked on. To get the materials that they have never got.
Okay.
Am I the only one that can't hear him?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's driving.
I can't hear him either. I can't hear him either.
100% better than. I'm done.
Are you done, Randy? Barbara, is that time?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, I did not want to interrupt him because he was driving, so I didn't want him to start fiddling with his phone while he was driving. So that's why, guys, I just allowed him to speak. So hopefully I heard most of what he was saying. So thank you, Andy, for your contribution. Next CEC member we have on my list here is Robert Tamayev. 3 minutes starts now.
All right, I'm ready. So I think what Andy's saying is right. And I think, you know, in the long run, we need huge change. But I think the issue with the parents right now is that they don't want a very drastic change right now, right? They want, if that's going to happen, right, just like the diversity plan, it needs to go through the correct channels, the correct system. And I think one of the fears that we're facing from the parents is not simply that this is happening, but they're afraid that this is, you know, as usual, like some of the comments, or this is an agenda and this is being pushed through and then things will stay this way forever. I think that's just something we need to keep in the back of our minds. That being said, I think our statement needs to be representative of everybody. So I would say that having the numbers of exactly how many, having the numbers of exactly how many are coming from each school, and more specifically breaking that down to the region, right? I want to know how many are from Forest Hills, how many are from Jamaica, how many are Kew Gardens, how many in Ozone Park. And look, unfortunately, if it turns out that 90% are from the north, that's just what we have, right? I mean, we have to work with what we have. It's not optimal. I think we can all agree on that, but we can't assume just because maybe some South parents will say something that the South will vote otherwise, right? You just can't do that. We have what we can work with, and that's what we should work with. But I do want to see those numbers. I think it's important to have that, because if somebody will ever say, well, you know, you guys did that, we should say, well, these are the numbers. That's one point of that. Ted, I just want to comment quickly. So you said some parents don't even know what a screen school is. and I think those parents is something that we definitely need to work as a group on, as a group, us being a group for the future, as to educating them. But realistically speaking, if the parents don't know what it is, then their parents are likely not going there. And so they're just sort of, unfortunately, outliers to which we can't work around right now. I think that's a question for the future, and that's just something we can't help right now. But that is a big issue that we should work on. Finally, I want to say, which is what I mentioned earlier, I would love to see statistics if they're available between the change in the score between what a kid does in the 3rd grade and the 4th grade. And what I was mentioning earlier is I've seen data for medical school. They've shown that as a student progresses, the way he does between the SAT to get to college, then the MCAT to get into medical school, followed by the STEP scores, which are the board scores we take in med school, they correlate directly from one to the next. Even though a student can work much harder in medical school, those numbers don't change much. So I think we write the letter based on the information we have, but that's what is out there as far as I'm concerned. Oh, sorry, one last thing.
Go ahead.
I just think, sorry, just quickly, going to a pass-fail system is just a dangerous, it's opening a dangerous door for next year. We don't know if our kids will go to school, and we don't want them to start saying, well, I don't need to work hard because it's a pass-fail anyways. That's it, sorry.
Thank you, Robert. Next we have is Erica.
Hello. Before my 3 minutes start, I had a question. If you could flash back to that screen where you had the schools and the breakdown of how many surveys you received back, is that possible to pull that up real quick?
Of course it is. Hold on one second.
Okay, before my 3 minutes. I don't want it to count as my point.
Hold one second. I'm going to share it again.
Sir, while we're doing that, 303, there were comments that parents from 303 were doing surveys, but that's not on that graph. Just putting that out there.
Yes.
Well,
yeah,
I would
not
not
that one,
comment.
the other screen. Mm-hmm.
I would not want to comment in terms of who told us that this, we can only go with what we have here. Because I think if people say, well, I was told and I was told, but he told me he felt that he wasn't there, we don't have that, and it's because that can be true.
Fair enough.
Right? So is this a screen, Erica?
Can you make it, can you shift it left so we can see the bottom? I think the bottom, hold on.
I am so sorry. Hold on one second.
What is that black box on the bottom?
That was like nobody else. That was not the schools.
Oh, got it. Okay. So 303 is not on the list. And I think there was another school that also somebody said that I filled it out. Why is my school is not represented? So it wasn't somebody on behalf of somebody, but it was.
Yeah, 303, one mom said I did it herself. So
there was
that's
somebody else besides 303. There was somebody else.
Okay. I mean, it could be a lot of reasons, right? It could be, I mean, I don't want to jump the gun and say, well, our AA didn't count it. I want to first make sure it was there, but also it could be maybe their phone had bad service and it wasn't submitted. It wouldn't go through all the way. But we can't say it is this or that until we check that, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Erica, you're muted, Erica, you're muted.
Ready. Okay, sorry.
Slide? This one? This slide too, or that's it?
No, that was the only one I wanted to see. What I
No
did
problem.
was I had pulled out the list of all the schools here. I
Gotcha.
counted 40 schools on there. And from your graph, I think I roughly counted like maybe it's about 30 schools or so there. So I agree with what Micah was saying, and Robert touched on it briefly, just that we're not showing the full representation. So we do need to find out what happened. I think we need to find out why those schools. My son's school, YECA, York Early College Academy, is a limited screen school. It does screening, but yet we did not receive any of the surveys. So that's a point. I mean, it's a big thing because even my principal, we talked about that because they want to get rid of screening, and that's part of our school. So the fact that our school didn't receive the survey had some concerns to me. What else? I just made some notes, sorry. So I feel that since there is no deadline, you did get information. Our letter should reflect the information that we received from that group of parents. And it should also show the parents that did not get to speak. did not get the survey. So that is not that, oh, well, this is the majority rule. It's not the majority because we miss parents that did not get the opportunity to fill out the survey. So when we do construct the letter, it should show that, because out of 40 schools, the schools that you did get, I think I counted 30. I'm not sure. I was
28.
roughly doing. For how many?
28.
28 out of 40 schools. So, you know, we need to find out what happened to the other 12 schools and what 12 schools were missing, and were they mostly in the South Side? I think when we construct the letter, it should show what parents are responding to the survey, and and the group that we are missing. Also, the questions that had on the survey. So you had, did you want to use the test score? Did you want to use attendance? Did you want to use both? So some parents, like myself, just said yes to, I want attendance, I want the grades, and I want both. So it just has to show, you know, it wasn't either or. So you could kind of get confused with, well, what do they really want? Do they want the attendance? Because at one point it showed, I think it was 74% for parents that wanted, I'm sorry?
It should be radio buttons, not check boxes, because you should not be able to select more than one.
What that's what I'm bringing up, because again, it can, you know, I'm voting on both, so you're not sure. Do I want both, or do I just want the attendance? Do I want? So it leaves you to not have exactly what the parents want, kind of get an idea, because from looking at that, I said, well, 54%. Sorry. 54%, I think it was, or 64 wanted both. And then it was a higher percentage that wanted the grades. And then it was a little bit under that wanted the attendance. So that's just something in moving forward. But my concern is finding out why these other schools did not get, and what were the other schools. Because I know Yucca and Metropolitan were two schools that did not get the survey.
Thank you.
And that's it on me.
Thank you, Erica. The next person I have is Howard Pollock.
EJ, thank you.
You're welcome.
My colleagues, thank you. I want to speak to something Andy brought up. I agree with Andy. The system ultimately in the long run needs to be changed. There should be inherently equality of quality of education for all our children, period. All our children matter. And we're here to represent the interests of all our children. Not the North Side only, not the South Side only, but all our children. And that's what we should be concerned about. So bringing up one side or the other it's defeatist. We should be thinking about what's best for everyone, for all our kids. In the short term, I agree with Micah. If we have more time, let's do some more robust outreach. I don't agree with Ted as to throwing out the survey, throwing out the baby with the bathwater. We have the survey. VJ did and his team did the best they could, and I appreciate it. We should send out another survey, this time with Spanish translation, in a better format. We should give ourselves a set amount of time to get the survey results in. Then we should write the letter. We should tell them we did a greater, more robust outreach, and then we should send them the statistics that we have. And I'm hopeful that as a CEC board, we could be unanimous, and we could follow the results based upon this more robust outreach with a finite amount of time to get those answers. I don't want to speak too long. We've been here a long time, but if we show that we're doing a lot more outreach, I know that would be more well received. And I want to thank the board members here for their time and their commitment for our children. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Howard. So my 3 minutes will start now. 1 second, let me see. Yeah, I wrote something now. So District 28 is home to a very diverse group of residents. Our district stretches from the doorsteps of PS 80, all the way to across the Van Wyck to PS220, the Edward Mandel School in Flushing. Currently, COVID-19 pandemic has brought light to many inequities that exist in our community. This pandemic has also forced us to make tough decisions and search our conscience to think about what is best for all, especially when it comes to our children's future. While the city and state governments put money and resources where they feel there is a need, every parent invests time, money, and prayer in their children's future. These investments made with the promise that it will pay off one day. As a great-grandson of an indentured slave that was sent to Trinidad to work in the sugar plantations, I know firsthand the value of a good education. It became very clear to me that education was my only way out to unearth the roots of intergenerational disadvantage. So I worked hard, very, very hard. And my parents made sacrifices to ensure I did my schoolwork and I did my best. Countless students in our district have and are continuing to work very hard, staying up long hours, reading extra books for long hours, taking extra classes, doing sports, just to do their best. And their efforts should not be taken for granted. As a district, we must maintain a standard of achievement. I want to repeat that. As a district, we must maintain a standard of achievement. An A will never be a Z. And a student who works diligently to achieve an A must know that their efforts matter, and a student who receives a Z must be provided equally with the resources to improve. Parents who work long hours, 2-3 jobs, sometimes more, and then take the time to do homework with their kids should know that their time mattered also. Equity and excellence, in my opinion, is providing effective resources to every child to meet them where they are so that he, she, or they can exceed their potential. Equity is not telling a student that an A he or she worked hard for is the same as a C that a child did not work for. Then why would any student strive to do better if their efforts will not be counted or warranted? As a city, we should encourage excellence, we should reward determination, and we should all anchor resilience in our homes. Yes, vulnerable, underserved, underrepresented, and marginalized communities have and continue to suffer the effects caused by decades of segregation and systemic disinvestment. But children who work hard to earn their seats in schools of their choices should not pay the price of that. Let's work together to fix the problem up the pipeline by leveling the playing field to access resources for all students. You must earn it to have it, is what I tell my kids. I encourage you all, my fellow parents, to do the same, to motivate your children to work hard and make the sacrifices to earn it, their dreams. In conclusion, what I would say is this: we did well as a CEC. We did something no one ever did. Any CEC did. We did a survey. We threw ourselves out there and we threw ourselves to the wolves to say, knock us down for trying. And some of you here are knocking us down for trying. And not one of you have I heard who knocked us down has given us solutions to say, this is how to make it better. And guess what? I'm an American, not an Americant. Because I believe that we can be better. But if we put our minds together, we can do better. And as a team, I think if we join forces and say, listen, this is where I think we can get more data, or this is how we can get better, or say, you know what, send me the survey and I will make sure I call my parent coordinator and make sure he or she sends it out, I will believe you and I will support you 100%. But what I debunk 100% is just finding faults and complaints, because that doesn't make us better. It's just because it's easy to find faults. It's so easy to find what does not work, but it's hard to say, how can we make it better? And I'm asking you, my fellow council members, let's work together to make it better. Now, I totally believe we should put the facts that we found in this initial letter and send it out. If we agree on a vote that say, let's wait, have this initial letter, and then let's learn from this first step, do another letter, and we are all liaisons to our schools, yeah? So let's all be responsible and ambassadors to our parents and work hard for your schools and work hard for your students and make sure your children are represented by their parents. Then that's a new conversation that we can have. And let's do another survey in a week to have this ready. but we should put out something that we found out right now, even if it's a letter saying that after this preliminary survey, we realized that we did not capture a good amount of our schools, like Erica mentioned. Or like Ted said, we can say, listen, we did not do a good job getting a great survey to capture the real effects of this problem, or educating, or the language barriers. Or like Elena said, let's understand how we can implement high schools and give more options. Incorporate all your feedbacks in a survey that we all agree, and then let's send it out to our families, be ambassador to each school, and then get that results back, and we include that in a letter, an official letter to our district. Thank you very much.
Thank you, VJ.
Can I comment?
Yes. Well, comment on my speech or comment on something like
where are we opening a discussion about this now?
Right. So now I think the next step would be that all of us had a chance to speak about this, is to now figure out how do we vote. Like, I think we have a couple of things up on the table, right? We have things like, do we send out another survey? 1, 2, and how can we work? Because I tell you what, many of you have ideas here, but many of you don't want to do the work. It's a fact that I have seen as president in this council. Many of you are sitting back here finding fault, but many of you does not raise your hand to say, I will do the work to help out. So I'm asking you, only if we are going to volunteer as a team to do another survey and work so diligently all together, then we can do another survey. If you all think that's one point to discuss, Micah, and or do we do, so let's do 2 things. Do we want to do a letter with this current data that we have? All in favor of that? You guys think it's a fair question?
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's a fair question. Vijay, I think you're under some pressure here to produce things, and I'm wondering if that is not. I don't quite understand what the rush is. I'm willing to put it to a vote, but on the other hand, why not? Let's just sort of, and you can put out 2 letters. I mean, if people want to do that, that's fine. But I think we meet and you kind of come in and you say, well, look, this is the way we're going to do things, and we're going to have this vote. And that was a very nice speech you gave, but it seemed really have nothing to do with the numbers. I mean, if we want to get numbers and we want to get a survey, why don't we do a survey? I think that
guys, the surveys we got already today from the Pulse survey and the survey that was sent out.
Allow him to finish, please. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Allow him to finish, Michael.
If you want to do that, I think it's very good to put it to a vote. But somebody, a numbers person, is you're going to have to justify. I mean, in a way, put together in a arithmetically sound way those 2 different surveys, right? Now, maybe that's easy. I'm not a numbers guy. But if you're going to do 2, why not do 3? And I think that yes, you can put the letter out. If you want to do the letter again, and VJ, look, you're working hard. We're all working hard. For you to suggest that we're not working hard when we have other things going on, that's a very unfair charge, and I reject that. But if you want to do that, then what you got to do is frame it at the top, whatever the issue is, put the numbers out, and then we can discuss whether we want to have conclusions. Personally, I don't have a conclusion yet. I want more information, but I'm willing to, put it up to a vote. So respectfully, that's where I'm at this.
Thank you, Micah. And then Elena was going to say something.
I said that I wanted to say that we already have 2 surveys, and we know what the majority now wants. I do understand that we might not have gotten a lot of responses, but you quoted over 1,000?
1,670 people, 1,670 responses.
How many? We obviously have a lot more, right? How many parents are there in the district?
There's a lot. There's a lot.
40,000 kids.
We have a lot of kids in our district.
I guess is our goal to get to that 80% target that you were talking about? Is that even feasible?
So
it is feasible. That should be the goal.
What are your suggestions, Erica?
No, I'm saying that we have to go back and find out where do we miss it? What was it? The parent coordinator missed us out. what happened, you know. And then you're talking about the parents that voted this one when we did the live voting, they voted on the other one too. They might have. So you got double voting. So it's so many you know, things where we're not getting the full view of our diverse district.
And would we ever get the full view?
Will we?
Will we ever get the full view?
Well, we should get a percentage of it.
What is the percentage?
BJ? Well, what I'm saying, when we're missing 12 schools, missing 12 schools, I think that's a problem. If you said you missed one school, maybe. We're missing 12 schools.
Fair enough.
So I just feel that to say, well, that's why I wanted to look at that board. I mean, you had it up there. I don't know if any other parent realized that, but we do get parents that were writing in the comment and stuff like that that say, hey, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. So when we submit this letter and it says, hey, I spoke to the family of the District 28, the Great 28, and they were like, they agreed to have, for the testing, for the scores to be used as the reason. They say, hey, I never filled out any survey. I never got anything. You know, so we still have time. We still have time. I don't know. I agree with Michael where the pressure came from that we have to do an answer. We voted. We voted on not to give a decision because we didn't hear from my parents. We are still missing parents that we have not heard from.
Okay.
So to go back and write a letter and say, I've heard from the parents, is not fair to the 12 schools that we did not reach out to. That for some reason, whether Class Dojo or Pupil Path, I didn't get one. And yes, I reached out to my parent coordinator. I reached out to the PTA president to see, but again, that was just a short window of time and try to send out the letter. But again, we're missing 12 schools.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think the survey has, Barbara, go ahead.
My suggestion is we send a letter out on the dynamics of what we got, the data that we got this week. It doesn't hurt to send 2 letters. We send a letter out on what we got this week, and then we brainstorm and put our heads together, change some of the questions, so this way we know if we're getting it from the north side or the south side. This way we know we have everybody's involvement. We're not willingly leaving anybody out. But as Erica says, 12 schools are missing, but we have, out of 40, we have more than half, which is 28. We are not sure why those 12 schools didn't get the survey. We just have to go back and find out why they didn't get the survey, what happened, why they didn't get the survey, send out a letter on this survey that we got with the numbers that we have, and then send another one based on a broader aspect of what we sent out the next time. That's just my opinion.
Thank you. So I want to ask Crystal a question. Crystal, on your listserv, can you confirm that you have all the principals? Because that's the same listserv I use that I pass on to you. And I know you went through the list of all the schools and you got all the principals and all the parent coordinators. Can you confirm that you have every school in our district?
Yeah, sure. You want me to take a look now?
No, not now, but based on your knowledge, do you know that we have everybody on that listserv?
Oh, yeah. Whoever wasn't there, I even went and did my own little research to find their address.
So meaning just to confirm what you're saying, that based on what you know and that I know, that the same survey link that was sent out to everybody, it was also sent out to all the 12 schools who did not send it out to their class or whatever reason, right? The 12 schools. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so what we could do is this. We could do, and again, this is up for discussion, right? We can wait. There's no rush for a letter, Micah or anyone else. There's no rush over here. But I know many of you have voiced that D28 is the only one who didn't put out a letter. So I think you all have created a pressure on D28 too, right? So let's make sure that's internal pressure that we have amongst each other that we didn't put our statement out. So now if we agree we are not going to put that pressure on us as a council, then we could quote both surveys on our letter. We could say a first survey went out on this date, and this is the results we have. And having realized that 12 schools did not respond, we decided to do a second survey, which shows that we've been responsible and we are taking the feedback. And we did a second survey to increase participation. Now, if it comes back that we still didn't get people to fill this out from the southern side or whichever schools, I want to hear from you guys. What is our third course of action then?
Well, if I can chime in,
yeah.
I'm kind of feeling like, because everyone, I get this sense that everyone kind of wants to do a certain thing, and I'm not sure that we can't. I feel like let's do all those things. Like if people are really, if it's, sorry, my kids are asleep. If it's really important for people to send out a letter now, I'm not going to hugely object to that. But obviously then you'd have to put all kinds of qualifications, like everybody said. You'd have to like describe who's not in the survey. So if it's important for some of you to send a letter out now, then I'm not going to stand in the way of that. I would just like to, when we talk about a second survey, I would like to incorporate, and we can use the existing survey that you have if that's one sort of thing that people want to do. I just want to add to what we're doing. I don't want anyone to feel like their opinion is not included, but I feel like I have a pretty strong opinion that we didn't really ask people the right questions, and maybe we can still send out the existing form to get more opinions on that form. But I'm kind of hoping that we can sort of ask people different stuff in a separate, maybe in a separate survey. I don't know what the form is, but I just want to ask people deeper questions, because I do feel like if you ask people, what they really believe, you may come back. We don't know what's going to come back. We honestly just don't know.
Totally. And I'm totally for that. I want to say that I'm 100% for that. There's no rush for a letter. Absolutely not. What there is a rush for is for us to figure out why certain parts of our district are not receiving our communications, right? So I think in the very beginning, what we can do as a first step is say, okay, Crystal, can you look through the list and see how many persons of each school responded? That was Ted's first question, right? I think one of you also asked that, right? Tally the amount of people from each school.
Yes.
Yeah, the second. And region, right? Well, let's say region and school, right? And then the second thing is Ted and whoever. So let's agree on one thing right now. Can we all agree or disagree, all in favor of, we could vote on something right now, say, let's not write the letter right now. Let's wait and do a second survey, a more comprehensive survey. So is that a fair question to start voting on? Because I want to move this along. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Well, I hate to go back the other direction, but again, let me very quickly make a couple of points. One, I'm like with Ted, I do not hugely object to sending out a letter now if folks feel that there's a real need to do that. But the other thing, I've heard from a couple of people that we're the only CEC that not do a letter. I've seen no letters. I asked, I looked around, so maybe I'm just
statement.
Okay, but again, I didn't really even see any statements from all the CECs. But
at the meeting, there was made statements.
It was an actual letter. They actually sat there and spoke on behalf of the districts without any real data.
Which meeting?
The last week, Thursday, the meeting, the Queen's public engagement meeting.
Oh, the DOE meeting.
Yeah, that's the one that because I remember you had brought the idea at our previous Tuesday meeting that we should remain neutral, and because we haven't engaged with right. So there you go. Okay.
So the final thing I'll say is I think it's very important that we're looking at 12 schools. We have to figure that out.
Yeah, I think this letter served a good purpose. I think Erica is right. It's and Barbara, Ted, and Robert, all of us who said this, that it showed us where the pockets are, right? It showed us how we missed what we missed. So I think if we do a second letter, a survey, and explain in the letter that we're doing this, and we could definitely use the data from this saying the first time around, this is what we get to show that we made progress, right? And then the second time around, here is what we got. So I just want to move it along, right? Because I think we can keep going on and on again about the ins and outs. Is anyone opposed to doing a new comprehensive survey? Now, June 30th is when schools closes, right? So then we have to do, I am saying let's do it before that so we can get parents to respond. We can't guarantee that people will respond for your class. And Class Dojo is the portal that we are using to ask the parent coordinator to send out this link to every single child via Class Dojo. That's the platform that we're using. So anyone?
Not every school has Class Dojo.
Right.
That's the problem.
That's a problem because like Yucca, we don't use Class Dojo. We use
One of the
Google
issues.
Path.
Okay, so that's what
Bingo.
Bingo.
now we found out what the problem is.
Right. So then I think one of the work has to be done is where we figure out is what is the platform that each school communicates with their teachers, with their student parents. Correct.
Emails.
Every school is using some sort of remote learning platform, so they've got some way
to say to them.
So let's do the before we get to part B. Let's do part A. All in favor of us doing a second? Okay, all in favor of holding off a letter right now? Just give a thumbs up or thumbs down. Also, all in favor of holding off a letter, like waiting for a second survey and then doing a letter. Does that make sense?
I don't have a strong opinion, but I think it's probably easy unless people want to do the work now to put together a letter. It might be easier to do it after we have all the data, but I'm not going to stand in the way. If somebody wants to do a letter,
So
I agree with my comrades. If you guys, the majority rules, so whatever you guys say, I'll agree with it.
But all of us can abstain, right? Because if the majority is abstaining, then what, right? So
right. No, I just feel that if you had the pressure to make a statement and then you did the survey, you're going to have people say, hey, what happened with the survey? What came out of it? Da 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 da. So then we'll be back again saying someone complained, someone did this. We got to make a vote. We got to, do this urgently.
No.
So I have no problem with a letter going out, but it has to show the flaw in it. Just, and that we're going to come with another survey.
So do you all remember, like 2 Tuesdays ago, when I had asked you guys, we should hold a special meeting to have a discussion about school admissions, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
And I said that we're going to try to get Josh Wallach at our meeting, but then they say they're going to have the meeting the same week. So why have us have a special meeting again? And then they want to treat all the CCs equally, so they can't have a meeting with us. So this was exactly the point, was for us as a CC to make a statement, we have to get public feedback. So to your point, Erica, there's no pressure from no one. We are the CEC. We are an independent body. We have no pressure from nobody. We will do what we, not I or Barbara or Erica thinks. We'll do what we think is best. And parents can pressure us. What happened to the letter? Where's the results? No, we as a CEC will decide what we think is best, how to move forward to best represent our whole district. So there's no pressure for a letter. All I'm saying is that we need to do it. We shouldn't do it in July. And then the DOE, because since they have not put out a deadline, Micah, to say we're going to make a decision, they haven't given a deadline. I just want us to have a letter out after the deadline.
VJ,
yeah.
It seems to me the short-term problem is those 12 schools that we didn't receive, or however many there were, that we didn't receive answers from.
Mm-hmm.
If we could resoundingly send them the survey again,
mm-hmm.
And give them a finite amount of time to answer, then we do our letter. I think that would solve the problem.
I think so too. What do you guys think?
Well, I think like that would solve the problem. I do want to add stuff to sort of make it a deeper, more comprehensive survey. And so I think that, like, literally, I'm willing to do some of this work. So I'm not like saying that we should do something and I'm not willing to do it. I'm willing to do it, but I just think that, like, basically everything can be done all the same. Like, if we're going to send something out to these schools, we should just, unless there's a big rush. I'm not hearing that there is like it literally needs to be done today.
Right.
If we can just give a little time to, like, put the thing together,
mm-hmm.
And then we probably might need to get it translated for the major languages and then send it out. And then we need to really sort of follow up and just make sure that it's being, the parents are filling it out. We get it back, we get our stuff back in whatever, I don't know, 2-3 weeks maybe max. And then by then we've got to really, okay, maybe 2. I don't know how long these things take, but like, we get our things back, and then but we have a really much more robust set of data, and then it just simplifies the whole thing. We just write a clear, comprehensive letter, you know.
And if we agree, well, we can.
Totally.
Okay, and if we agree on just putting up a letter on our website, right? Because remember how we had a little notice on our website saying, after our review of of our initial survey, we realized that some platforms was not used. Like, that's a very valid point, right? That Class Dojo was not used at some of the schools where we had shared this information. In light of this, we are going to be doing a second survey that everyone's going to fill out. So we could put up a letter on our website in reference to this, right? And then put up a second one after that, Ted. And then Ted, you could, if everyone agree, we can start this, Ted, have a conversation, and then we can say, okay, let's put this forward, and we can have a committee. One of us, four of us right here, can sit down together and say, let's be part of the survey committee, and then we work on it, and then you bring it towards our board, our members, and then we vote and say, okay, this looks good, let's send it out. What are your thoughts? And then in the meantime, our admin, Kreyòl, will look into the schools that did not receive it and say, hey, what platforms do you use to communicate with your parents? And then we can make sure that we did have those platforms, so that covers that part. What do you guys think?
Sounds good.
Does anyone here opposed to that?
No.
So just summarize the idea against.
You oppose, Robert?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that, sorry, can I just quickly say, so I'm opposed because I think you're to only ask those 12 schools now means that you're doubling up on a certain group. Looking to my experience with research, that creates an internal bias. When you present a survey to somebody the second time, you're more likely to get more answers, and maybe that's what we want, but it's unfair to the 28 schools that did answer because those parents don't do it, which means you inherently need to redo the whole thing, which brings the legitimacy of the first one and the second one, because then someone's going to say, well, you know, what if, let's do this all over again. So we can vote, but that's my point, that I feel like this can go on forever.
What do you propose as a solution, Robert?
I propose that we release the data we have, and at the end of the letter, make it very clear, as stated, the 12 schools have not been represented, and we will redo the whole survey all over again, so that parents are aware that, including the ones that have answered, that they need to answer again. Because if you just release a new one, some parents may think, well, I don't need to answer. But can you truly add data you have to data you're going to get? Like someone said, today's survey doubled up on the week's survey. I guarantee you half these parents would, not half obviously, but I'd say at least 50 of the ones voted were the same as the ones who were in the first 1,000. So I think we release a letter with the data we have, stating this is not full, and we are not submitting this letter to a DOE. We are submitting this to our parents only first. But we will continue working on this until we get, and we can name the number of parents we want, or as close as possible, right? So we have 1,500 or 1,700. We want 3,000. That's what we're working for. That's what we're going to try to get. Ask your neighbor, your friend, your cousin to answer our survey. That's the only way to fully get the entire district represented, and fairly so, because otherwise you create an internal bias. So you show them what you have. Also, I agree we don't answer anyone, VJ, but we do represent the parents. So to tell the 1,700 parents that did vote, well, yours doesn't count because we missed another 1,000 over there, it just doesn't sound right to me.
Right.
I personally did not vote in that thing because I felt like it's part of the thing. But I'm just saying, but in terms of seeing the data, it's super important, right? So if it turns out that it was equally north and south, then we have a good pool. But I think Erica is right. That's not the case. I'm sure that the South was not as represented as it needed to be. But we need to make sure that when the new survey goes out, the North parents that did vote know that they must vote again. Otherwise, you just get 12 schools.
So it was Robert, then Barbara, then Ted.
I'm done.
Me? I like
No,
Robert.
sorry. So it was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, it was Barbara first had her hands up. Then Ted was going to say something. Then Michael. Then you. Then Elena.
Sorry.
So I agree with Robert, and I stand where I stand. I think that we should send a letter out based on the data we got now, then go back, do the second survey, make sure we reach all parents on the platform that they use at their schools that we have. I will personally research to find out what schools, what data do they use, so we know that the next time we reach all those schools, those 12 schools that didn't get in this time.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm just being cognizant of timing. Paula will give me a little time check. We are going really late, so I want to make it very clear, like keep your comments pretty short so we can move along, because I want to, by today, end of the meeting, I want to make sure that we have two things. What we're going to do with the data we have, and what's our next step. That's the two things only. Okay, so Ted.
So I just wanted to address what Robert said, because you know, my sort of understanding of like how they do political polling, I think this seems to be very similar to that, in that like we're not getting the whole district. We're doing a sample of the district, but what we're trying to do is make sure that each demographic is sort of sampled correctly. And so like, so even if we present the results as is, we kind of have to present it in terms of like population, don't we? Like we need to say that like, okay, this school is this size, and we got, you know, like let's say just for the sake of example, all of our responses came from one school. You know, we couldn't really present it that way as like this is the whole district's opinion. But what we could say is like, you know, we have a very full sample from this one school. So I just kind of thinking that like if we go and get additional data from schools that we don't have data from, that wouldn't, you know, that wouldn't bias the results, because we really should be presenting the results in a weighted for the school populations. You know, like if a school, you know, if a school has a very small population, then they should be weighted according to the size of the population, you know, not according to the number of responses we got, because you could have very small schools with a lot of responses, and you could have very large schools with very few responses. And usually the way they do political polling is they weight them according to the bucket.
Thank you. So we have Michael and Elena, then we'll move to a vote. Sorry, guys. We have to move on.
I'll just be very brief. I think Robert's idea is a terrific idea. I think we should do it that way. In terms of Ted and the weighting and a political methodology, yeah, but nobody reads that. Nobody pays any attention to that. And we don't have to be that detailed. We want to give our community a sort of a snapshot of it. So I think, you know, I would agree with Robert.
Thank you. Elena.
At this point, I don't even remember what Robert said.
Now wine, that red wine. What happened? That red wine.
This is not wine. I wish I had wine right now. I think that to respect people's time that came tonight, there were over 130 people, as well as over, you know, 1,000 plus people that have already filled out the survey. And the expectation that we will reach out with a statement after this meeting, I think that's what we need to do. And then as a follow-up, we should potentially, you know, we have a whole summer. The decision doesn't need to be made. We can then refine the results after people see their report cards and go back. Paula is like doing this. I don't know what that means, but okay.
We don't have the whole summer.
We don't have the school is gonna be out in 3 weeks.
But yeah, the admission process starts in the fall. So technically they could reconsider how they're gonna look at, because the grades are not going away for them up to March. They're still gonna be on the report card, just the final marking period grades is gonna be pass or fail. Right, so the data is still there.
Right.
Can they use the grades in the last marking period? Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna move to a vote now, right? So everyone had a chance to speak. Everyone had a chance to comment, and I want to be respectful of your time. I love our CEC. We all debate, and I love it. That we're all passionate about this work, and this is exactly what it should be. So thank you all for really respectfully. I love it, right? So yeah, no, Elena, please. I tell you that water in that cup. So Robert put forth the idea just now that the time that people, it's 1,670 people who actually did go on and do the survey, their time mattered. the 103 people, no, 100 and what, 100 and something people online who came on today and polled, that has to go somewhere, right? So why don't we put out a letter like what he was saying, like this, with this information, saying, and we acknowledging that what we found, and we'll be very transparent. This amount of people voted from this school, this amount of people from this school, and this school did not get that, and it could be by an oversight from the CEC that we didn't realize that they didn't use Class Dojo. And in light of these things, we'll be doing a second letter, and then we work in 2 weeks to get a good survey that we agree on, not a lengthy political survey. Please, we are not running for office. Please, a simple, to the point, clear, because we have to meet our parents where they are. We don't want to have it to the point where it becomes a lengthy survey. To the point, to be filled out, and we send it out to people. And at that point, we could write our official letter to the DOE. But we report to our parents what we decided, what we found, and how the district responded. What do you guys think?
Good idea.
Good idea.
Okay, so does anyone here disagree?
Thank God.
BJ?
Yes, sir.
Oh, no. I apologize. I'll be 10 seconds.
Go for it.
If the 12 schools did not get the survey, Robert, I'm not talking about did they get the survey again. If they did not get the survey and the parents had no opportunity to fill it out, then we have an inherent problem.
Yes.
I think we should determine whether or not those parents got, if they didn't get the survey, then we should give them an opportunity to fill it out for a finite amount of time.
So we had Tuesday the 4th, we had Tuesday the 2nd, Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday. We had 3 days, right, to have a chance. So what Robert is saying is, what Howard is saying is send the same survey that we have right now.
Same survey.
To the school that we identified did not receive it, have them fill it out, then we put our letter out, and then do a second one after?
That's just an intermediate step before we send something out.
Okay, we got to vote. What do you guys think? All in favor of that intermediary step where we identify the 12 schools that was not represented? So we're not saying if 5 people only responded, we're going to send to them. No, 0 representation, right? From those schools, right. We're going to send a survey out to those 0 representation schools. 0. Right, 0. It has to be 0. One person is enough that a school is represented. Right. 0 for that school, and we understand why. We give them 3 days, same amount of time. They go there, they fill it out. Whatever we get in 3 days, we pull it down, and we merge that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, same survey, right?
Same exact one.
Yeah.
And then after that, we write our letter.
Right.
And saying that, because we have 3 days. So we'll do it Monday, next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By Thursday of next week, we have a letter out. And 1 week is fair. Saying from our initial survey, this is what we did. This is what we found out. Thank you for your time. Now, at that point, CEC members, we can determine, do we want to do a second survey after we get the results from the schools that was not initially included? Now that we have the information, do we need to go and do a second letter? Does that, we could think about that at that point.
Or can we just agree to proceed with a sort of a second survey committee? Because I just feel like we just didn't ask all the questions. So it's not really, I'm totally on board with whatever you want to do with the first survey. I just feel like we just didn't ask all the questions that probably needed to be
And that's
asked.
what I'm saying. So we try to cross one bridge at a time. We're saying let's do this intermediary step now to make sure we account for the 12 schools.
But we don't have the time. Like if we're going to do a second survey, we need to, I need to start working on it ASAP and whoever else is on that committee, because school is going to end in 3 weeks.
So we can double task. We can do 2 things. We can do one committee. We'll do like myself and Crystal and Erica and Barbara can work on the ideas or something like that, and start working on the schools that did not get. Let's divide and conquer, right? And we will work on the schools that didn't get a survey, and we send it to them. 1, 2. The other half of you will work on the second survey. In the meantime, to get it done. What do you guys think?
Agree with that.
If you guys can put together a rough draft You throw the information in. I can always clean it up very quickly and get it back to you. I think the first letter, you know, I think that first survey is a good idea.
And we can have the first letter out by next week sometime, saying like, listen, this is what, and the schools who are getting this, the 12 schools that we identify, they are getting the same exact amount of time. So we're gonna really literally look and see 3 o'clock today to 3 o'clock that day, same exact time that they all got. So it's kind of fair to the best of our ability, right? And then we'll write a letter by next week, send it around to everybody, a factual letter about what we found. And then in the interim, Ted and I'm just volunteering people here. Ted.
I'll work with Ted. I'll work with Ted.
So Ted, Howard, Robert, would you work with Ted?
Yes. Yes.
Micah.
I'm not sure it's a good idea, so I don't want to. I'd rather reserve my vote.
So you can you work with us, with our team?
Sure.
Okay, in the latter part, right? Yeah. Andy, you want to work with the survey, the next survey, or the first survey, getting it out to all the schools?
He's muted.
Andy made us king. There you are. I have to say the word king, then he responds.
Nah, Mr. King.
Mr. King, do you want to work with do you want to work with us trying to find the schools that did not respond and having them get a chance to respond?
Not a problem.
Thank you. So here we have it. Crystal, can you mark it down, please? So we have one committee is Barbara. I make a motion to have a committee, 2 committees. Anyone second that?
I second it.
Thank you. The first committee I make a motion for to have a committee to have the first survey go out to the schools that we identified did not receive the survey and ensure that they get the survey that we sent out initially and with the same amount of time that the other schools got it. Anyone second that?
Second that.
Can we have a vote on that, please? All agree?
All agree.
Yep. Unanimously? Perfect. Great. Second motion, I make a motion to have a new survey. Anyone second that?
Second that.
Yes.
Thank you. We have a lot of seconds. It's third, fourth, fifth. The second survey we worked at with Ted, Robert, Elena, and Robert. Ted, Elena, Robert, Robert, Elena, Howard, and Ted. That's it. We'll work on the second survey that they'll prepare to. Let's get a date. Let's get a date. We'll have a date by. The time is important, right?
Thursday.
No, that's too early. We want to get it out by
18th.
Guys, I really feel like we're cutting it close because I tell you what, I am afraid the DOE will make a decision without our official letter. And the DOE they are working very fast. There's a reason why they had all their public engagement in 1 week. And they're not waiting on us. So I'm nervous that if we don't write a letter out from CEC28, that we'll write a letter after the fact.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
Paula, you want to say something?
I just wanted to address timing because when you're thinking of, and I wanted to give you a chance to kind of hash this out. But when you're thinking about time, well, it's for 2021 in the fall, but DOE has to actually put out information on screen schools versus non-screen schools. All of that stuff is really actually prepared in the summer. It doesn't, you don't do it like, remember that information on schools starts going out in the fall, and applications are due on the early December. So when you ask DOE, well, is there a deadline? They're going to tell you no, because there's no deadline, but it doesn't mean necessarily months. So I just want to caution you that, things might move faster than you think when you're thinking of so when people tell us about the elections in 2021, well, we're preparing now. So again, there's a lot, we're talking about 1,800 schools and information that needs to go out to parents. So okay. I wouldn't just go on. So that's all I have caution.
Can we have a final version of the second survey by Monday, June 15th?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, I love the yes. That's great. Thank you. Si se puede, we can do this. Okay. So, guys, when I get tired, I get funny, right? So,
expert surveys instead.
So June 15th. Now, as you guys know, by default, I'm a member of all the committees, right? So I will definitely would like to see the surveys too, right? And I will chime in. I think it's okay if we share the survey to the whole group. You guys okay? The final version for input, so we all can see it.
Yeah.
At once, but I don't want it to be a long 10 weeks, discussion. We should give our time that, okay, we have guys, 24 hours. Look at this. We need to approve it by, and Ted, I'll leave you in charge. Well, you guys can agree. On the 15th, we have to have the final version ready to be sent out. By that time, we will know how the schools communicate to the parents. We'll have all that stuff. And we'll give everybody the 15th, 16th, 17th. 3 days is enough, you guys think?
Can we put it on WhatsApp to check the email, please? Because I don't regularly check that mailbox.
I don't want to use WhatsApp only because we're not supposed to be using WhatsApp, and emails is what we're supposed to be using.
Just say, please check your email.
Oh, yeah. Send a message out to WhatsApp saying that, hey, check the survey.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. That'd be nice if you all can do that. Can we agree that by the 15th, we have the final version? The day of the 15th, it goes out to all the platforms. And then 15, 16, 17. How much days you guys think we should have it down? By the 18th, 4 days, or by the Wednesday, the 17th?
The 18th. I'll give them 4 days.
Well,
18th. We need time.
I think like if we're gonna do a second survey, then we're not necessarily we don't have to. I mean, I guess we're trying to weigh in quickly. This is what I guess that's the idea. But I mean, if we're already weighing with the first survey, maybe I just felt like this first one was so rushed. Like 2 days was like. There are people who don't check their. I mean, Elena doesn't necessarily. There are people who just don't check their email for like a week.
But
so
then we cannot reach everybody.
No.
I know. Do. We have to do what we could do based on who meet them where they are. And I think if we think about people who don't reach emails, are we going to walk to their house and give it to them? We can't, right?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can deliver the final survey a little bit earlier than the 15th. I guess that's what I'm hoping. But
that'd be great. That would be great. So let's say we give until from 4 days is good. I think the fourth, but it'll be us liaisons to each school to do the work to make sure our parent coordinators are sending reminders, sending out to the principals, hey, make sure your schools are doing this. And then we'll see via the survey feedback what schools are responding, right? Is that fair?
Fair.
Okay, so do we have a plan? We got a plan? We good with the plan?
Yep.
Yes. Just want to clarify, Crystal is going to see the schools that we didn't reach, and we'll get back in touch with me or Barbara, the other committee.
She'll respond to the whole group. It's okay. She'll respond to the whole group with, hey guys, this is the schools that we have, and this is how much people from each school responded, and these schools had 0 response. And then Erica, VJ, Barbara, and Micah will work on a plan to make sure those schools get the current version of the survey, and then we agree that it goes out to them by, can we give ourselves our time? Let's say we have this up by next week, Tuesday,
Yep.
same time. Tuesday, same time. Come on Thursday at 4 o'clock, same time.
Yes.
Okay. And by the time we have our Tuesday weekly check-in, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Crystal, is that fair with you in terms of timing to help us with that information?
Yep.
Yes, fine. I'm gonna have the schools tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Okay, guys. So let's. This was great. Thank you. We did well. Okay, let's move on in terms of chat.
I thought that was it. Oh, I thought that was.
Okay. In terms of agenda, any old business beside this?
It's almost 11. We've been doing this for hours. Can we defer any other business till our Tuesday?
Yeah.
Thank
Tuesday meeting. I second that. I gotta get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Okay. Any new business?
All right.
Somebody gotta make a motion to settle it. If somebody wants.
Make a motion to end the meeting.
Make a motion to table new business. Make a motion to table new business. Everybody say that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who makes the motion?
Everyone.
Who seconded it?
I do.
Everyone.
Okay.
Triple it.
This meeting
Let's
is
move on.
adjourned at 10:50 p.m.
Tuesday. Good job, guys.
Goodbye.
You guys
Good
are
night.
amazing. Thank you so much.
All right, great
Wonderful.
job.
All right.
Good night.
Hey,
Tomorrow we can figure out what we've done.
Tonight. Oh my
Good night,
God.
everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Let's get that wine going. Let's get that wine going. Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah,
Great job. Great job.
Good night, everyone.
End the meeting, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
End me.